Biggest thing that we always see online is folks saying they can't afford good education, so we're here. So if you guys took a couple hours out of your day instead of doing whatever to be here, I appreciate you for investing in yourself, because you guys are going to get some serious sauce today, and then we'll go through the charts and show you guys some technical stuff.
The money too big, it don't fold. BBS is on plan, I'm not gold. With that chopper, I'm getting too low. In that Hellcat, and that bitch finna smash. I hit 200, I fuck with the dash. Say I'm slick, and that gym, I go crash. Shots going off, shit, they think that's Steve Nash. The money too big, it don't fold. BBS is on plan, I'm not gold. With that chopper, I'm getting too low. In that Hellcat, and that bitch finna smash. I hit 200, I fuck with the dash. Say I'm slick, and that gym, I go crash. Shots going off, shit, they think that's Steve Nash.
So these are the fib levels. We're actually gonna get into charts. This is my favorite pair. It's called US dollar to the Japanese yen. We're gonna go through and add a couple fib levels, 0.382, 0.618. The negative 27 is basically a projection area where we want price to go to. 1.0 is 100%. The fib levels are important because let's say that we're in an uptrend, right? Let's say price is coming down and then it comes and pushes up. Then we're basically essentially wanting to see where is price going to retrace to. So 100%, this is our point A. B is gonna be the high of the move. Once we have an A to B, then all this tool is doing is help us basically measure the overall retracement. So 38.2 is our first PRSV zone. The 0.236 is a continuation. So price just hit it. It continued on into the overall direction of our projection zones. So you'll find, even if I just take this overall move, let's say that price were to retrace back to this 38.2 level, look at that, how it plays out. From the 38.2, it plays out to our projection. That's because the market likes to move in legs. So the same move that you saw on this initial, we're more than likely going to be seeing that no matter what projection zone it comes to. If it comes to the 61.8, then we could still be expecting this extended leg to that first projection zone. Okay, now this is a gem that I'm about to cover and go over that I think is really important that I haven't even really shared with a lot of people. But whenever you have price go from the 38.2 to a projection zone, if price is to come back below this point B, then at that point we can be expecting more retracement. All right, and so that's important because if price were to just come retest point B, then we can expect that continuation to the projection zones. But if it actually closes below, meaning like a 1 hour or 4 hour candle closes below this zone, then now we're expecting price to start retracing back to a 38.2 or back to a 50 or back to a 61.8. And this is also how you end up getting like head and shoulder type formation patterns where now, you know, you're back in the downtrend. That basically covers it on fib. I just want to go down and we'll actually apply. I'll show you guys how you can use fib on a 4 hour. I'll show you how you can use on M30 because some people do want to scalp. There's nothing wrong with any of them. Scalping is short term, intraday is either for a session or for a day or two, a couple of days, and then swing trade is what I prefer to do. That's where you're trading on a higher time frame, but you have to be a lot more patient with holding and maintaining the order. So you just gotta know yourself.
Do you have any advice on when someone starts their funded challenge, what you would advise?
For me, I would decrease my risk going in just so I can build a cushion of profits. That way I would be able to increase it later in the challenge. Now you gotta realize you only got like 10% to lose. If you're risking 1% a trade, that's only 10 trades you can lose in a row. And I know some people bump it up to 2%. So that's 5 trades you can lose until you blow that account. So for me, I would decrease it to maybe 0.5%, build a cushion, and once I'm satisfied with where I am, I'll increase it back to 1%. In terms of withdrawal, you know, I'm taking out almost every cent, you know, so maybe I'll leave 1 or 2% just as a cushion, but for the most part, I'm taking out almost everything.
As soon as that payout button's available.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's more important to stay disciplined than getting the account, and that's why I pick prop firms that offer 14-day extensions and free repeats. Because at the end, I don't want to break my rules because I'm not there yet. You know, I want to be consistent as much as possible. That way, I can get that free extension or that free repeat. Because at the end of the day, for me, it's more important to follow my rules because no matter how much money I make, if I don't follow my rules, I'll give all that money back and then some. So I'm sticking to my strategy during the evaluation, verification, and when I get funded.
everybody goes into trading because they don't like rules, right? Everyone goes into trading because you don't want a job, you don't like rules, you don't like constraints, you don't like structure and all these other different things. That's why you have to kind of retrain yourself if you want to be successful at this. That a lot of the successes come from really just being extremely disciplined about trading. There are no days where you're like, oh, let me just fuck my account up today. Like, that happens at the beginning. You do get to a certain point where that just stops happening because it's not funny at some point. At some point you lose so many accounts, it's not funny. And you're just like, I'm never gonna lose another account. Just like he said, this is, when you tell yourself, this is the last account I'm ever funding, that's when everything's gonna change for you. Because you're either gonna quit after or you're gonna make it. More than likely, you're about ready to make it. If you're that frustrated, you're right there. All right? Who's ever been to that point where you're like, this is the last account? You're like, this is the last one. So the next time you tell yourself that, you have to mean it. And you don't mean it just in that moment. Like, you can make a plan when you're very excited, for example. Like right now, we're all motivated, we're in here. It's not about how motivated you are today, all right? You're going home, you're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that, and you wake up the next day and you don't feel like doing any of that shit. It's about being consistent over time. And I know it's not sexy, and I know it's not easy. And so that's your number one. My recipe for success, you guys can actually, this is probably the only thing I'll ask you to write down. My recipe for success is doing the right thing consistently over time without convincing yourself that you're smarter than you actually are. You start having some success, you're like, oh, I figured it out. Let me pour all of it in, and then you lose everything. You start back from the beginning. When you start seeing success, it's like, okay, you make your first couple $1,000 on a $10,000 account, and now you feel like you have a cushion. Now you're like, well, I need to risk more, because now I have more room to play with, so I'm gonna go a little bit heavier. The best traders will stay with that same lot size until you're at 20,000. Now at 20,000, you can consider going up in lot sizes and starting to play at a different game. You guys see the difference? The first person celebrating at every single win. The next person has a way bigger time horizon and understands that the only way to get there is through a disciplined approach.
VVS is for the fam, I swear. Been dead, done that, oh yeah. Everywhere I go, man of the year. How did I get to Mars before Elon? I took a pill and a half, now I'm blown. I let that shit on fire, now I'm gone. I let that shit on fire, now I'm on. I took a pill and a half, now I'm down. The money too big, it don't fold. VVS is on plan on our goal. With that chopper, I'm getting too low. In that Hellcat, and that bitch finna smash. I hit 200, I fuck at the dash. Say something slick in that gym, I go crash. Shots going off, shit, they think I Steve Nash. The money too big, it don't fold. VVS is on plan on our goal. With that chopper, I'm getting too low. In that Hellcat, and that bitch finna smash. I hit 200, I fuck at the dash. Say something slick in that gym, I go crash. Shots going off, shit, they think I Steve Nash.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you guys grab your tickets to the FX Summit 2023 conference, June 9th to the 11th, Miami Beach, Florida. I look forward to seeing you guys there.